Jane Cole. Jane is the General Manager, Compliance and Regulatory Affairs at Medibank Private Limited, where she's responsible for complaints management and regulatory compliance. She's an accomplished leader, stakeholder manager and advocate with experience across the public and private sectors. Jane is a strong customer advocate with significant experience developing policy within highly regulated industries. Prior to Medibank, Jane worked for the Australian Communications and Media Authority, where she was responsible for enforcement, policy development and industry compliance, and the Energy and Water Ombudsman in Victoria, where she specialised in complaints management and dispute resolution. Jane, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I work for Medibank, and between June and September last year, we accounted for 60.7% of all industry complaints to the Ombudsman about private health insurance. I know it's a bit therapeutic saying it, actually. It's sort of, you need to first accept that you have a problem. So we accounted for 60.7%. Now, our market share is 28.6%. My grandfather helpfully called me after those results were published and pointed out, it's 61% really, Jane. I said, thanks, Granddad. I get it. It's a bad number. And look, it is a dreadful number. Complaints is just one number where you don't want to be leading your industry, quite frankly. That number was a real wake-up call for Medibank, putting it mildly. That complaints tell you something about the experience your customers are having. They tell you something about how your customers feel about your brand and about your business. And that number told us something very clear. It told us that we had underinvested in our customers, we'd underinvested in our products, customers had not been enough of a focus for Medibank, and it told us that we had just not made it easy for people to do business with us, really. So what I'm going to talk about today is how we're turning that around and what the future looks like for Medibank when it comes to customer experience and how complaints play an important role in that. Because we really are in our business driving accountability to the customer from the CEO down. Complaints for us is crucial because we think that changing the way that people right across our business think about customer complaints is going to be key to putting customers at the heart of every decision we make. And we don't think that we can truly care about our customers until we truly care about customer complaints. I might just talk a bit about complaints generally because from my bio, you'll see I'm a bit obsessed with complaints. So, love a complaints conference. Glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Ray. So before coming to Medibank, I spent 5 years working for an ombudsman and 7 years working for a regulator. So I saw customer complaints across a wide range of industries, and I came in touch with a wide range of different company attitudes towards complaints. And, no matter what industry you're in and no matter what industry I've worked with previously, companies can just see complaints as an inconvenience, quite frankly. They don't make any money, right? They're not generating revenue. They're not selling more of your widgets. And they're not fun. They're not innovative and exciting. They're not cutting edge. And you see companies that just don't like to talk about complaints. You see them take their complaints team and shove them in a corner to do their boring work quietly. You see them cut the complaints team first when things need to be cut. And, you really see companies underinvest in complaints management, no matter what industry you're in. And the way people talk about complaints, the number of times as a regulator I was sitting on the other side of the table having a company say to me, come on, Jane, seriously, you got 10 complaints? I'm sorry, do you know how many customers we've got? And, and that's the attitude. It's really easy to rationalise these things. It's really easy to say it's just 1, it's just 2, it's just 10, it's just 50. When is it enough? Like, what's the magic number where you're supposed to sit there and go, oh, well, that's worrying. And, I can confidently say one thing, having worked in complaints across a range of sectors, if you get 10 complaints about something, there's never just 10 people impacted. they just aren't. You know, you're not magically going to get complaints from every impacted person. It's just that only 10 customers have gone to the effort of making some noise about it. You know where the others have gone? The other customers who haven't complained, they've just gone to the barbecue on the weekend to say that you suck, right? They've gone to the barbecue to tell everyone that they should never have anything to do with your dreadful company. Or they've left and they've gone to your competitor, or they've done both. You know, I remember sitting across the table a number of years ago from an energy retailer, and we were talking to them about complaints we'd had from their customers because the industry code required them to put a graph in your electricity bill of your usage compared to previous periods. The graphs were always wrong. You know, like the person's last bill was 200, now it's 300, but the graph was going down. And I remember sitting across the table from them and telling them about the complaints we'd had, and they literally sat there and they said to me, I mean, it says we have to have a graph, Jane. It doesn't say it has to be right. And you know, this was sort of in the second or third year of my career, and just the attitude shocked me. I thought, okay, look, you might not care about my ability to rigorously enforce this code provision, but don't you care about the people who are sitting there looking at your bills thinking they're a pack of idiots and wondering whether they should go elsewhere? So really, no matter what industry you're in, complaints do matter. So, you know, great conference title, guys. Very, very true. I'm going to try this clicker thing. Okay. You can see I put amazing effort into my presentation. It doesn't get much better than this, I'm sorry. I'm going to talk a bit about why Medibank cares about complaints, and for me, it falls into three key reasons. The first is that we know that to truly care about our customers, we have to care about complaints. The Telecommunications Ombudsman did some research a number of years ago which showed that 55% of telco customers had given their telco 5 or more chances to resolve the complaint before they went to the Ombudsman. And more than 60% of people had spent over 3 hours trying to resolve their complaint. Customers are incredibly resilient. You know, they actually do genuinely want to fix something with you, their provider. They genuinely want to work with you, and they genuinely want to give you a chance to fix the issue. And at Medibank, we really feel that we need to view every single complaint as an opportunity to turn around the experience of that one customer, but also an opportunity to improve things for all of our customers. The second reason is the one that should be compelling for everyone, really, if the others aren't. It just makes financial sense, quite frankly, to care about customer complaints. It costs less money to resolve a person's complaint in 1 call than 5. It costs less money to identify after 1 complaint that you've got an issue impacting 200 people and fix it than it does to get 200 complaints and handle 200 complaints. It simply makes financial sense. You know, I remember this great story about Mikey when it was rolled out in Victoria. You know, you used to, before Mikey, this is the public transport ticketing system, before Mikey you used to be able to buy a 7-day pass. You could go on public transport on the Monday, go on the Wednesday, go on the Friday, till you'd used your 7 days. And you could still get a 7-day pass with Mikey. Fantastic. But they left one really freaking important word off their ticket machines: consecutive. You know, consecutive days. And, you know, what I liked about the story was that obviously people start complaining, and they keep getting complaints, It took nearly a year to put one word on ticket machines. And really, for me, complaints is about getting that one word on the ticket machine after 1 complaint, not 1,000 complaints. Because it's going to save you money and it's better for your business, better for your customers. The third reason for us is that we know it will support the growth of our business. Customer complaints not only alert you to problems, but they point to opportunities to improve the services you provide your customers. Every single complaint is an opportunity to learn something about your customers and your business, and every single complaint is an opportunity to improve the products and services you provide. In November, our CEO, Craig Drummond, announced that our key customer milestone is going to be to get Ombudsman complaints below market share in 12 months. And he gave me the complaints team. Congratulations, Jane. So you might say that our complaints team has been given a pretty challenging task, really, going from 60.7 to 28% in 12 months. But I actually think our complaints team is in a great position. The reason I think our complaints team is in a great position is because the tone has been set from the top. They've been given a mandate. You know, our CEO has made it clear that complaints matter to him and they matter to our business. And, you know, that doesn't make our job easy. We're still talking about 61 to 28, but it certainly does set us up for success. I've only got 20 minutes, so I'm actually not going to talk about complaints management, and I get the sense that there was lots of good conversation about that this morning. Instead, I'm actually going to focus on how at Medibank we're changing the way that people in our business think and feel about complaints. Because changing the way that people think about complaints in a business, or quite frankly, even getting them to think about complaints, can be really challenging for complaints teams and anyone dealing with customer complaints. Because, as we said before, they're boring and they don't make money. So I'm going to share a few simple examples of what we're doing in Medibank to really change the way that people think about complaints in our business. We have a weekly and a monthly complaints report. So those reports cover off, you know, how many complaints have come in, what the complaints are about, trending issues, work on hand, closure rates. Those reports previously only went up the management chain in that part of the business. Now they go to just about everyone. Right, they go to our CEO, they go to our senior leadership team, our call centre managers, our product managers, our digital team, our marketing team, our complaint handlers. Everyone gets it. Every Tuesday and on the 5th business day of every new month. And it's not filtered, like it's not cleared by any executive at all. It goes straight from me or my complaints manager to well over 100 people, including our CEO. Not only that, but each week we attach a spreadsheet including verbatim every customer complaint we've had through the Ombudsman's office that week. You know, it's amazing when you actually read a customer's complaint, you know, and it's not just a customer, it's Mr. Jones from Frankston, who's been your customer for 25 years. It actually makes people care. It actually makes it real for them and puts it into perspective. And look, I know this stuff sounds really simple, you know, send around regular reporting, like it's not rocket science. But we find that direct line of communication from our complaints team right out across the business does a few things. For starters, it just puts it in people's faces. You know, it gets everyone talking and thinking about complaints. People who don't work in your complaints department are suddenly talking about complaints in the elevator, in the kitchen, and they have to read the report because our CEO reads the report. He might ask them something that was in the report. Trust me, he reads the report. He picks up my typos every week. And it gets people thinking about what they can do to improve the experience of our customers. You know, we started, after we started this very sort of transparent way of reporting on customer complaints, we started getting random people from our operations team, our digital team, picking up the phone and saying, oh, I saw this in your complaints report. I actually think I've got an idea about how we could fix that. For us, it's about getting every single person in our company to care about every single complaint. And that 12-month target of getting complaints below market share. I like to explain to the general managers in our business that if every one of them found something they could do to just avoid one Ombudsman complaint a month, my job would be done. You know, there are some big things you can do, but sometimes it's just the little things, and it's just looking at every individual complaint and critically thinking about whether it's impacting other people and whether there's something you can do to stop that same complaint coming through the next month. So when is a single complaint just a single complaint? It's simple, single complaints, never just a single complaint. You know, if a customer complains about the quality of service from a particular part of your business because of a training gap, it's really unlikely that training gap is only impacting one customer. We've defined a potentially systemic issue in our business now. So we've defined it as something that has caused or has the potential to cause multiple complaints. So there's no minimum threshold number. You know, you won't have to get to 5 or 10 or 50 before we look at it critically to see if there's an opportunity to improve what we're doing in our business. Just one is enough. You can identify a potentially systemic problem from just one person, just one complaint. And we think real success lies in our ability to do that and fix the issue before anyone else has to complain. You know, you shouldn't have to get the other 49 complaints about the same thing. So that requires our complaints team to look critically at every single complaint, and it requires other teams right across the business to be really open to hearing about things that they can do to help. Because this job, while it's a complaints target, it's not just my problem to fix. It's not just my job to get customer complaints down. You know, I can ensure that my team is handling complaints well, but it's really, and our CEO has made it clear that this is a target for everyone right across our business to own together. It can be, it can be big things or it can be really small things. Just one issue that made it onto our systemics register recently, a customer complained about our claims process. He had a claim, he doesn't use the internet, so he got the claims form and he was going to send it in to us with the receipt to put his claim through. So we went to the post office, queued up, asked for a 45-cent stamp. Realised stamps haven't been 45 cents for quite some time, had to pay $1, and called us and said, why the hell do I have to pay for a stamp to send in a $15 claim to your company? And we looked at the form and we went, oh, there's no reply paid details on that. That's weird, isn't it? Just small things. So a couple of days later, form's updated. People don't need to pay for a stamp to send in a claim form anymore. So, that's not big, and it's something that it's easy to overlook, but you look at it and you think, oh, well, if that irritated one person, I bet it's irritated other people. I'd find it annoying. So where are we now and what's next? I do have some good news. I've got an actual slide. It's coming up next. Here we go. So I did do one graph for you. Things are going in the right direction. So we're doing well. Our share of industry complaints dropped from 60 to 48% in the December quarter. The Ombudsman's yet to publish the March quarter, but preliminary figures show that we're going to hit around 38%. So we've made great progress so far, and things are moving in the right direction. I keep saying to people, though, that last 10% is going to be the killer. Getting it from 38 to 28 is not going to be easy. It's going to be really hard, and it's going to require every single person in our business to genuinely care about every single complaint. Not just the people in the complaints team. Every single person in our company needs to genuinely see every single complaint as an opportunity to improve the way we do business and the way our customers experience our brand. So that's the job for us over the next 6 to 9 months. Thanks for having me.